Okay, fucking A. All right. How am I introducing you? I should have, I didn't ask my last guest. Let me get a pen.
What if you just say, "Hello, I have my friend Ashley here. Ashley, how you doing?" And we dig into it.
Works for me.
Like, what if it's easy?
Oh my God. Okay, love it. Yeah. Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Jennifer.
I am very excited to introduce you to my audience at Invitational Insight. So, welcome everybody who's with us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And you are in for a treat. And I'm not even saying this like frivolously or lightly. Like I goosebumps and chills all up and down because to be in Ashley's presence is truly a gift. And I cannot wait to share her with you. So, hi, Ashley.
Oh my God, I have full body chills. I love you so much. Look at your smile. Ooh, I'm so grateful
I'm
to
like
be here
shaking
with you.
because I'm feeling it everywhere. All the tingles. You give me the tingles, girl.
Oh, I'm gonna put that on my website somewhere and just leave it at that with your name.
I gave tingles to Jennifer Mercado. Listen, that is no easy feat. Let me tell you, no easy feat. So, full body
Thank you.
tingles. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here and for
Oh,
like getting to be in your space and to share your magic and your energy. Like I love you so much. I knew the moment that I saw you from across the room at what was it? It wasn't Powerhouse. It was called
worthy
something
human,
else.
I think.
Yeah, Worthy Human. And I thought this woman is like the freaking sun. Like she just radiates and I felt so compelled to your energy. And now to connect with you in this way is just like, oh God, it's like honey to my heart. So
Oh
thank
my
you.
God. Likewise, listen, don't make me cry too, because we haven't done that yet. I've not cried yet on this podcast. You're going to be the first for the tingles and the tears all in one. Good God. Everybody, just brace yourselves. This is what we're doing right now. Ooh, okay. So let's get right into it. Ashley, you had a post on Facebook that I really want to talk about, but I would like, if it's okay with you, for you to give context to the viewers and listeners as to what that post entailed.
Yeah, so I am a business owner, and in my business, I help people heal their hearts and I help them tune into the magic of their heart and follow their intuition. And I help a lot of people who are healing through infidelity, trauma, pain, wounding, suffering, divorce, loss, grief, but also making more money in their careers and asking for what they want to need and having the relationship and love affair of their lifetime. Like all of that is through your heart. So that's the context. I have a beautiful business. So I, a few months ago, everything in my business came to a halt. And it really was like it felt like a death because of my ego. And I was really, really rageful and angry with God because I know this is my purpose. And you know it's your purpose or something like you're close because you feel so lit up. Like, I can't even believe this is my life. I can't believe I get to do this work. Like, really? And then when that stops, and you don't understand why, and your ego is wrapped up in like my identity as a business owner and I'm a healer and I'm a channeler and I'm a teacher and all this stuff, and then it's not working the way you want. Well, I was really angry. Now I know it's because this job was supposed to come through, but part of the ego death that I went through was like I was so proud of reaching one of my values, which is freedom. When I quit my job 2.5 years ago, I was like, I made it, I did it. And now I have to go back. And it felt like my wings were being clipped and I was putting back in a corporate cage. Yeah.
I know.
So,
I
yeah,
know.
if and so having my wings clipped in that way, I thought, who am I? And I went down like a really, really, really dark, deep hole. Like I was depressed. I had like I haven't told really anyone this outside of my fiance Nikolai, but like I had suicidal ideations because I thought if I can't do this work, like why am I even on the planet, you know? Especially because I love it. And I told like so many people, I'm like, I don't know who I am, and I feel like I lost the joy from my heart, and I'm known for that. Like that's what people experience from me, and like this thirst for life and joy and love and freedom, and I didn't have it. And my favorite things to do were like go on walks in the woods and drink beautiful champagne and sit in nature, and I didn't feel anything in my body, so I just felt numb because a lot of things were happening in my life, right? Nothing was working in my business. No one was booking sessions with me, right? I couldn't feel like I could write anything on social because it wasn't that joyful thing that people typically experience. I had to help my father move across the country, and he has extremely tight deadlines and hard uh, prerequisites, maybe, or like things that he had to have in place. And it was just me doing all that work on top of, do I take this job or not?
Yeah.
Like, and my problem was, is this a test? God, source? Because are you saying, are you not 100% all in on your purpose in your business? Or are you going to take the easy way out? Yeah. And so that was like the journey that I walked of like the death and rebirth cycle. So I shared that, really being afraid of like looking like a failure. Are people ever going to want to work with me again? Even though I'm not even a business coach, but it's like, why would you want to work with someone who had everything? Clearly, they don't know all the mindset stuff. If they did, they wouldn't be in this place, even though I'm a freaking human, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's really been the Phoenix rising energy. And now I understand in hindsight why everything clicked into place. But now I am in a role that is uniquely suited for me. Like I was literally hand selected for this position. And I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life, which is really exciting because now I really get to be generous, which is one of my values. And I get to change things in my business that were misaligned because I was in scarcity.
Yeah, so many emotions are coming up for me right now. And that's exactly why I wanted to talk about this in particular. So, one, I witnessing you being so vulnerable and so open and just being able to express exactly so that I can understand and I can place myself in your shoes, like, is such a gift. So, thank you, firstly, for all of that and for sharing deeply, because I know it's not easy. And I know it's not easy because it's something that I had struggled to articulate for myself when I was going through a very similar, iteration in my professional life, right? So some of you who have been watching, who have known that I had the real estate podcast and now it's a new iteration of me just being a little bit more myself, is because I'm starting to phase out of being solely a real estate business owner, solely being a realtor. And last year, that was where it kind of hit for me too. Like I call it like February, because it was just, I had such a high with my birthday and then such a low in my business. And to be in such a juxtaposition where it's like, it's not all bad, but this isn't feeling good. Am I doing the right thing? If I do take something else, am I a failure in my business? Am I quitting? Like, how am I going to help mentor and coach people into doing other things in their business if I'm just like, peace out, right? And it's such a mental battle that is really exhausting. And that's where, it lends to more of that depression and more of that withdrawal. But when you, I think, just have what come to Jesus moment where it's like, well, this is the path that I'm laying out, right? God, universe, source has lined up these things in such a way that you could have never done yourself, even if you had the time to do so. That how could you disregard that this is where you're meant to be and these are the things that you're meant to do? And then now, like a year later, in my position to have other opportunities come up that I cannot wait to share with you guys, it's like, yeah, absolutely. Right. Whatever hesitation and fear you had at the beginning is ego, just as you so beautifully put. Because if you're getting your resources from wherever they're coming from, you're being provided for. Why are you judging how you're being provided for? Right. And I think that when I read your post and I saw that and I heard what you were going through and I so felt it, I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the death of that identity. Let's talk about maybe the disservice that we might be doing to people, in trying to make entrepreneurialism all, sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, or trying to aspire for our business to look identical to somebody else's when we're not identical to that person. So this was the talk I wanted to have so that people can understand a little bit more of, yeah, we shift through identities in our business and in our lives, and that's okay. So walk me through. You make the decision, you have this discussion with yourself, and then once you make the leap, how did things start to validate that that was the right? And I say right because there's no right or wrong, it's just what you choose. But how did it validate that that was the decision that you were meant to take?
Yeah. So this is twofold. At the part of my journey where I was building up and was still in corporate, before I made the leap to freedom in my business, I actually saved, I had a safety net. And so I told myself if I hit a certain amount, and then I broke down my expenses to see actually if I made no money, I could live off of this for like, and it was 2 years.
Okay.
If I made no money,
None.
okay. Yeah. So at that point, um, in that job, I was like, there was so much tension and there was so much bitterness and resentfulness
Mm.
because, when you're, at least in corporate, what I had experienced is when you're really good in your job and you have certain leadership, it's like you're rewarded with more work, but it's a punishment.
Yeah.
And and I
My
remember
teachers here
sitting there
know that that's exactly what's up too.
and I remember sitting there and like being so quick to rage and anger, even though I'm a master mindset coach, a master NLP practitioner, a master hypnotherapist. Like I have all the tools, right? But my nervous system was like, we're literally living in anxiety and fight or flight, and this is no longer good. And you have the resources to be able to leap. So leap. So I did that. And I was full time in my business for 2.5 years. What I recognized within myself is it took me a year and a half to actually ground my nervous system, but it's so hardwired to be the hustler, to
Yes.
get as much stuff done. Why I should be doing things right now. Why? And then I just start spinning up because what are we taught in capitalistic culture? The harder you work, the more you'll be rewarded. But in business, that is not true.
No, no, it's not. You burn out and then you can't earn jack shit. So where are you left
And
then?
and I actually it's funny that you talk about that because my adrenals were out of whack, my cortisol was out of whack. Like I almost hit adrenal fatigue. And if anyone knows about burnout, you can't even like get out of bed.
Yeah.
And it's like a badge of honor to be busy until you can't do anything. And then it's like, well, what?
Right. Then you're like in paralysis and nothing gets done, and your brain is still going, even though you're physically immobilized, which is such a hard thing to process. Like, how do you do anything? How do you make money? How do you energetically bring people who are aligned to your business from a place like that? You can't.
Right. And the universe is going to protect you if you're burnt out. And so I realized, as this job opportunity literally came from the heavens for me, um, is it was like you haven't rested for 2.5 years. You tried to take vacation, but it was the guilt of I should be creating. What if people forget about me? What if no one buys? What if I have 2 weeks where I don't make anything? Then what? Then what? Then what? And so because I was burnt out, I wasn't creative. I lost all my joy, but then I had this job come in and I was really like, this is a test. I shouldn't take it. And the more I sat with it, I thought, why do I feel like everything has to be a permanent life sentence?
Yeah.
Why can't I take this opportunity and make it mean something for my journey? Why can't I take this job and talk about like that post I wrote on Facebook was extremely vulnerable and hard for me to write, but the higher level is there are people who are doing this in secrecy and they feel alone. And I would rather have people feel like I'm right there with them and I get it. And I know that this point in time, just like for you, this point in time is literally going to serve me in the most profound ways that I can't even comprehend yet because I'm not God.
Right.
So
Right.
if everything is working for me, this doesn't mean that this position, me taking it is I'm a failure, I'm opting out of my purpose. It's actually I'm taking my purpose and bringing it with me because this company literally is global and it has 5,000 employees. You're telling me I can't make a difference by touching at least 2 or 3 people's lives, right? Like, what am I doing?
Right. Oh
So if
my
it's not
God.
a life sentence, yeah, and it's going to serve me and everyone that I work with in the future. Like, holy shit, I'm so grateful. Like, let's freaking go. But really had an ego death about it.
Yeah. Oh my, yeah, no, it's never the easy response, right? Because we just, to your point, we have to torture ourselves. Like I remember when I got the first job offer, I was like, oh, they gave me exactly what I wanted and they have benefits. Like, no, 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 I can't do this. I can't. Who am I, right? Who am I? I can't be this person. And now I'm gonna be like a 9 to 5. No, no, no. Like, why? And literally, like out of nowhere, I think I might have been like at a red light or something. It came to me like, you asked, did you not? And here it is this not good enough? And I'm like, oh, that's it, right? If I'm grateful, if I have faith, if I believe, if I trust, and this is the step that's being provided for me, and I don't have to worry about anything else, what is stopping me from taking that leap, right? Because it can't be what I think about myself. It can't be what other people think about me. It has to be, does it feel good for me? I had the opportunity to still have fun actually in what I do. And I love having fun. And for me, like when things stop being fun, like as immature as that might sound for some people, like if it's not fun, I'm out. I'm out. And I told my husband, we've been now together 14 years, 15, however long. But I remember when we met, I'm like, if this stops being fun, I will tell you. And we're just done because I, I have to have that just like you mentioned, like that joy, that thing that lights you up. And I understand that it's an ebb and flow in fun, but if it's fun consistently and if there's always going to be that pull, then yeah, let's do it. Whereas just like you mentioned, you got resentful and bitter with your business, like that's how I felt with real estate. I'm like, this doesn't feel fun anymore. So how, if I'm not doing well, I'm not having fun, um, my body is jacked up with stress, I'm not enjoying my time with my kids, the free time that I have to be home and do nothing is really torture for me because I'm thinking about the next and the next and the next. um, what am I going to create out of this space? What am I showing them? And it really it takes a lot, right, to go through this. Like, and now on the other side, you're like, yeah, you should have done it like instantly, but that's not how we're wired, and we have to retrain our systems as we're moving through new levels to come along with us. And that has been the one journey for me. And I know that we've been like in the same cohort together for mindset coaching, where I have to string my body along. Like my mind sees what's up, and my mind can go and like we can manifest and we can do. My body can catch up sometimes, and it's that inertia that comes physically for me that makes me feel like I'm going to die. That the earth is going to open up from under me and just swallow it all, and like that's it. We're done. We're done. Like it's super like cataclysmic, catastrophic. If it's all fine, my body's like, no, it's not, right? So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah, I
I
feel
so
that.
feel that. I
Yeah.
had when I was processing with my fiance Nikolai, and I was just like so sad, and I sat on my bed and I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And he was like, I know exactly what you're going to do. So he forced me to get into his little fancy sports car and he took me to the woods and we went walking. And he was like, now what do you want? And I was like, I just want to cry. And he was like, okay. And then he said, and then what? And I was like, I want pizza and beer. And so we went, we went, I know.
I got it,
He took
girl.
me, so he took me to a brewery. And as I was just sitting there processing, like, do I take this job? And I'm like mad about it and I'm sad and all this stuff and just like really, really, really struggling. Um, I had my hand like on my face and he looked at my ring and he was like, it's so beautiful because my ring is a moonstone and it was like blue in the light. And I heard this voice just pop through and it was like, Ashley, your life is so beautiful. You're missing the beauty. And I thought, oh my God, the way that I can take this opportunity and make it truly mean something beautiful. And I remember I went on a walk and I heard through this like meditative walk, just this voice float through that was like, not all flowers bloom in daylight. And I thought, oh
Mm,
my God, this is where I am right now. Yeah, it's dark, but it doesn't mean that there isn't beauty all around me. I'm just not seeing it.
yeah. Oh my gosh. First, you had me at pizza. I love Nikolai. Thank you. Just so he knows, just let him know. Been a fan from the beginning. It has been such a beautiful journey to witness and unfold. I'll have you come on that one because Kismet love stories are my favorite. So we'll have to do another one for that. But and to give you to that space, right? Like, what do you want to do? You want to cry? Okay, let's do it, right? Just go through the emotions, right? And you're a projector, I'm a projector, and we know that sometimes like if you're an emotional authority like I am, like I'll get quick emotions like fast. And then it's like, okay, ride the wave and what's left after, right? And that's kind of like what's truth for me. And I love that you had that space to do it. And very similarly too, like I could overthink it and it can just sit in my brain. It's like I need to feel it. I need to feel that this is okay. And with trauma, informed nervous systems, it's really hard to feel okay. But when you find that glimmer of hope, like just that small sliver of like agreeance in your system, hold on to it, because that's what's going to like guide you to the rest of the emotion, and that's what's going to, like it did for you, like validate that experience. And it's just an amazing thing, I think, like when we learn to speak to our bodies and to talk to them, and then we get out of our minds, we don't let the egos lead as much, so that you do what you wanted to do, where you felt absolutely much more aligned, where like you said, it's almost like you were primed, handpicked, perfect, like the skills were exactly what you need, and you're being compensated, and you're helping in a way that is not the way that we're so used to seeing help as. Corporations aren't all that bad, guys, and especially now, like in this consciousness like era and awareness that's happening, especially like in corporations, like it's really different now. And I swore I'd never like work for a corporation, and here I am, like, what do you, yes, yes, do you want me to travel? Of course. Where am I going next? Okay, all right, yeah. Like it's different, and I think that you gave them a chance, you gave yourself a chance, you gave your business a second chance to really just flourish into something that's new, and whatever iteration comes of it, like you're open for it, and I love that.
I think too, you just touched on something really beautiful, which was a primer for me in taking this role, is consciousness is changing rapidly because of how awake people are. And it's really exciting because that means we get to shape industries. And so, one of the reasons why I didn't want to take this job in the beginning is because I remembered that past corporate job and my nonprofit jobs before that, and how they literally felt like chains. And it was how much can I take from you? How much can I deplete you? But do a really good job. Like, you better. And then I come to this company and they literally have unlimited PTO. Like, my boss is like, you're taking more days. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And she's like, you're going to rest. And I thought, excuse me? Like, what? And so, and I had, I know. And I had thought too, like, my last corporate job when I really launched my business and like was like, this is the thing. My first clients came from that job. What makes me think I can't have that again? And especially because when you are in a team and you're in working with other teams, you're cultivating respect and
Yeah,
foundational skills that create and foster and cultivate connection. Like, who am I to not bring that to this company?
exactly. Exactly. Another layer of human. Let's just add that on, right? And that's exactly how I felt too, like with my current supervisor. And I freaking teared up yesterday because, we've got a change coming, and just to feel so, supported, like no strings attached, no hidden agenda. Yeah, this is great for you. I'm a champion of your growth. I'm here, you need that. Absolutely. Oh, well, don't worry about that. Like, just to treat me like a person and not just jump into, well, was this done, or like account for each hour or minute of my day, which I felt like was my life when I was a teacher. Like you have so much limited time to do what you have to do within the classroom, so that when you're not in the classroom and you're preparing for the next time to be in a classroom, that was like you were under a magnifying glass for every minute. And I came into this job kind of with that, like, oh, here's my calendar, this is what I did. And she's like, okay, like, you did your job, right? Like, you're an adult, I am too. And I'm like, yes, but like, should you treat me like an adult? I don't know. Like, I've never had like so much freedom from an employer before. Like, so to your point, for those people who are like jumping either from like a business to a job, or from a job to a business for freedom, like there is freedom to an extent with the boundaries that you place for yourself, but then there's also a sense of captivity if you are your own business and you're not leaving that buffer and that boundary zone to still, cultivate the fun and cultivate the things that brought you there, and helped you to make that leap into either direction, right? So this isn't necessarily a don't quit your job if it sucks, but it's also not a, leave your business if it sucks too. Like, either environment, I think, would cultivate the situation.
Yeah, it's duality, totally. And
Yes.
I think too how perfect that, again, it's like not a life sentence. If at the end of the day this job doesn't work out, one of the conversations that I had with her, with my boss, that made me feel really quite spacious and empowered, she was like, if you hate it, then you leave, and it's not going to change anything between us. And I thought, oh
Wow.
yeah, like that's the leadership that I think we're seeing more and more of. And if we don't see it, we get to be that, and that's really exciting, because I was my own boss, and if I'm being totally honest, like I did not treat myself well, but I treated myself like what I saw in previous corporate roles, which was grinded out anxiety. You're as good as, how much money did you make today? You didn't make any money. People must not care about your work. You must not actually be that good in your purpose if people aren't paying you. And it's like, well, hold the fucking phone. Like, give me a moment. So having the spaciousness. And then it's like the same for you when you go into these roles, you are so exquisitely gifted and you have certain skills that so many of the population doesn't even have, because you are brave, a risk taker, you are inventive and innovative. You have these business skills that can greatly serve any company. So like, why not you?
Right. Right. I love that. I love that. And there were so many feelings as you were talking. I like felt like different parts of my body light up, honestly, or I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that and that and that. So the first thing is leadership, right? Leadership is not what it was, or leadership is, let me rephrase that. Leadership is actually becoming leadership, right? Whereas before, the definition for leadership, I think, was very just um, conflated with hierarchies in business, and that's not the case anymore. Like, leaders are leaders and they empower their people to become leaders. So that's thing number one. And like, if you find a leader like that, like, yes, like that's exactly the environment that you can thrive in, that you can be your very best self in. And I love that you said that, because I work with like a monumental leader, like, and she knows, like, if she were to ask me of anything, I'm like, yes. Okay. Right. Because it's those people that, she'll never lead you astray. She's got your best interest at heart and will champion you and support you, even if it means to an exit. Like, those are leaders. And the other thing, oh crud, shit, I forgot. Damn, there's that ADHD again.
If it's
Hold
meant to
on.
be, it will be.
Come to be. It'll come back. It was the leadership component, and also, oh yes, thank you. It did come back. Being an entrepreneur makes you take account of yourself and as you're in your skills in a way that you wouldn't do if you're just in an industry. So when I became, real estate entrepreneur, I didn't just have a real estate skill set because of my license and because of my background. I also had a teaching background that I now blended into real estate. I also have an administrative background that I blended into real estate, right? So being an entrepreneur really lets you like tear down the walls that compartmentalize your skills and your gifts and brings them together. And then when you have that awareness of like, oh, I can actually do this, I've done it in a different setting, but it's the same skill, you've got transferable skills like you would not believe. And it really, really gave me such a better understanding of how my brain works, of the things that light me up, of what I really enjoy doing, of what I don't enjoy doing, of how to vocalize what I do or don't want to do, through negotiation and conflict resolution with customers, right? So it helped me look at myself in such a brand new way that I'm like, oh my gosh, I could like do anything, right, guys? Like, I put my shoulders up, like, yeah, I could, whatever you want, sure. A somersault backwards, absolutely. Like Idris Elba levels of freaking confidence, because you really just take stock. You get resourceful, you get scrappy when you're a business owner. And I honestly recommend everybody start a business, everybody fail a business, everybody gain new skills, and then everybody go work wherever it is that you want to work that lights you up, because you need it. You need it. Just go do it. Go quit and then go come back, whatever you want, but just go do it.
I mean, that should be a soundbite in and of itself. Like, make that a quotable. Thank you so much. And I think too, like, what's really exciting about being an entrepreneur, like you said, is like you actually sharpen skills that change the world, right? And it's through you that you get to bring that. But a lot of people, have never quit safety and security and the stability of a corporate job and bet on themselves.
Yeah.
And and even if no one ever does that, because you and I have done that, there's this level of power that I've accessed that can never, ever, ever be taken away from me.
Oh my God.
Like, I could leave this job, I could find a new job, I could quit altogether. And I know I've got me, and I know that the universe has got me, and that whatever is coming on my path is meant for me because I've chosen it as a soul. Like, what the hell? So everything else is play, and everything else is like, be more you. Like, why the fuck not?
Great. Oh my God, Ashley. Yes, yes. You got you. Nobody can take that away. That's like the second time I heard that this week. So I clearly need to remind myself that what I have is not going to be taken away. You would think I'm like an orphan with how scrappy I am about like my materials and like people around me and experiences. Like I just want to hoard them. I'm not an orphan, but that's how I feel like sometimes. Like I'm just super, please don't take anything from me, right? Wow. They can't. That is the short answer to that. They just can't. What a fucking gift. Good grief. Thank you.
Great, everyone.
Oh my gosh. Thank you
I love how
so freaking
spirit
much.
speaks. Oh, seriously. Like, I was learning about the law of three through this man named Matthias de Stefano, who basically, if you don't know about him, he remembers every single past life he's ever lived and in
No.
between. So he's basically like channeling information for collective consciousness, but really to heal the planet and help humanity move forward. And he talked about the law of three. He said, if there's a decision that you're wanting to make, like you hear it and it drops in, but then allow yourself the spaciousness of having two other touch points come into your life. Meaning, like you just said, I said something for the second time you heard this week. I wonder if you'll hear it for the third time and then it will click completely. How
I
fun.
wonder. Now I'm gonna like have my ears out to see like if anybody tells me that again. Like, no, what you've got is yours. What? Say that again? All right, there it is. I have no need to fear that, the world is not going to collapse under me if I, do whatever it is that I need to do and it feels good and it's new, that I'm not going to like shrivel up in a skin pile and like peace out. Like that's not gonna happen, and barring my memory being erased, like I've got a podcast and like other places where I've dumped my brain out. So yeah, but I needed that reminder in some way. So thank you for that, and thank you for that as well, because I will be looking out to see if somebody else says it to me. Holy mackerel! Okay.
And you can't have an insistence though. You just got to let it happen.
Oh yeah, no, it's not gonna
You're just
be, and
aware.
I'm super. What's the word? Like I'm just aloof. Like I'll show up to place and be like la 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 la. So it's like one of those things where I'm happy to be here. Literally, just I'm happy. Right? We're just here. We're making it happen. So okay. Oh my gosh, guys, more than you bargained for. Let me just tell you that. So, well, with that being said, and before we wrap up, what are like your plans, right? And I know that this is something that I'm asking really selfishly because I'm trying to figure out what are my plans with what I'm doing and how to maneuver my business and whether to pull back or, scale it back. All that is happening. So what are some things that you're going to do to start with that balance to allow like one space to now come in and work it out with balance? You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for asking that because I've been really contemplating it. So, because I've been in business for totality 6.5 years, and I've never stopped. Like, it's been constant learning, growing, grinding, all of that. So, I'm taking this time to really slow down, meaning everything I do on social right now, like, if people don't hang out with me, my favorite place is Facebook and Instagram, and my name is Ashley.Mondor, Mondor.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
And
connect you to her in the show notes. You will
thank you.
find her and love her as much as I do. I promise.
Thank you. But I'm being like really intentional and careful with like my nervous system. And it's summer here now. So it's like, how can I go play? Where I also have to be aware of that nagging voice that's used to hustle, hustle, hustle. You
Right.
should be working on your podcast. You should be posting on social. You should be crafting your offers. And it's like, well, actually, what if I just like breathed for a freaking moment? Like, there are people in the world who don't have businesses and they log off and they're done. And you're like, whoa.
Right. Right.
It's like so weird.
Yeah. Like, what do you do with all that free time? Meanwhile, I'm like, I have a podcast, I'm going to school, I have kids and a job. And it's like, okay, like Jen, don't overachieve for all of us. So I'm loving your answer. Sorry,
Yeah.
continue.
Yes. And so I've actually taken like a 2 weeks really to sit back and think about how I want to craft and shape my business moving forward. And because I've been contemplating, it's like I can really see how the certain offers that I had and the way that I was existing was in such scarcity and overgiving versus overflow. And now I'm going to be shifting my business in a way where it's like, I don't know how to say this other than it has to be exclusive because I only have so much time in the day. Meaning, I work this job and I'm going to do an incredible job for this company. But if I'm going to have and continue to do this business and someone wants to work with me, it's like, but at what cost? Because now you're taking away from me living with my fiance and being in nature. And that means that like my prices and my packages are going to reflect that because I want people who are so committed and devoted to the growth work that we can do together. And like I'm really excited and I feel extremely grounded in the way that I'm going to show up from this new level of power that I couldn't have accessed unless I went through that death and rebirth cycle.
I'm stealing that. I only muted because somebody's chopping trees right outside my house today. I don't know why. So in case you hear it, sorry, that's what it is. I'm stealing that answer. I am absolutely stealing it. One, because there has been a clamor from me, particularly in this year, to create space in my life for my creative outlets like my podcast and for singing, which I haven't done here yet, guys. I haven't forgotten. I know I'm putting myself on the hook every week just to say it, but either way, creating that space intentionally because that's what I want. But to that exclusivity part, like, yes, you know, and you've inspired another episode. So for my realtors who are watching, I'm going to help you fire clients. I'm going to help you fire customers and when to say no, because it's not always worth it. And in, you know, having that other job and like having a place where like I feel like my skills are valued and appreciated, and then I go give the very best to myself to maybe some clients or customers who don't appreciate all the hard work that I've done, that's where the exclusivity is going to come in a little bit more, and the more intentionality in who I'm working with, because it just won't be anybody. So I'm stealing your answer. Thank you for that. I just cheated on this test.
I love it. It's perfect. We're vibing. And it's like, especially as a projector, your energy is extremely valuable and exclusive. And like, not every invitation is aligned. And I can see all of the ways where I didn't fully honor my magic because I felt like I had to be of support or I had to discount or I had to whatever. And it's like, I actually did that person or those people a disservice by not bringing the fullness of my magic and what I bring. And so I want to be with people in spaces where they recognize me and they see the potent medicine that I bring to their life because they're here, because that's what I bring. And so it's like, that means not everyone is a match for us. And thank God, because they're going to find the people they're meant to work with.
Right. Oh my gosh. They will find other people they're meant to work with. Louder for those in the back who are just clawing and making things happen out of force. It's just not meant to be, and it is okay to let it go. Ah, just move here or I'll move there, and we'll have like a home space in between Minnesota and Florida. We're just gonna make it happen. I don't know. I freaking love you so much, so hard. I am so grateful for you. I so fucking see you. Like I see you. And I am so grateful that you allowed me to share how I witnessed you with the people who are watching. So to the audience members, to everybody who is listening, watching, oh my gosh. Replay this with a notebook, take down all the notes. Any questions that you have, drop it in the show notes directly to me or to Ashley on Instagram. You'll find exactly how to find her. But this doesn't end here. So this is part one of this love affair that we've just aired here on YouTube. So if you're watching and witnessing, you're welcome. And there's another part coming and we'll work on that. So thank you so very much for joining me, Ashley. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First for posting, right? Because you had no idea that it would take us here. So thank you so much for that. Love you so much. Mwah.
I love you. My cheeks hurt. Oh my God. You're everything to me. Like, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And everyone else, enjoy, take care, and we'll see you soon.